support further how to do so. Let's not dwell on that because we have got some great TvT. Let's see what happens to the top right hand side. Our red Terran player from Splice is TY. Coming up against our blue Terran player who we just saw taking down Zest, this is GuMiho. No 60 FPS, no acknowledgement of Duttle's mom. The stream is derailing. Do we usually acknowledge Duttle's mom? Is that something we do here? I didn't know. Didn't know that was a thing. Early game from GuMiho is going to be all about the proxy to Rax Reaper with the first two SCVs coming across the map here. Still just such a potent build in TvT because there's follow-ups to it. You can do this and not do a great deal of damage, but you can still be in a good position because of what it forces your opponent into, etc. It's a very weird one. So we actually see this. Honestly, we see this way more than I'd like to see this still in TvT. This is one of those. This is one of those TvT builds that I kind of wish we could fix. Like, I don't know. I just don't think T-Rex Reaper is one of those, one of the most amazing builds to watch a lot of the time compared to what TvT can be. So I don't know. At the same time, I mean, it kind of, it does kind of lead into macro games more often than you might expect. So I guess it's not too bad. Anyways, let's go into this and see what happens. We see the first Reaper on the way up. Scout from TY will tell him though, like, hey, dude, you have not got a barracks in your main. So TY will probably not throw down the expansion here as he was originally intending. Instead, we'll throw down a little bit of a faster factory, prioritize that, and we'll see how he does. This is 16-bit, so there's, of course, that opportunity of an in-base expansion, which is, kind of what GuMiho was hoping for. The idea that TY will look for a faster expand more so than anything else, and it was what TY was going for. The single gas means no double gas. The lack of a second gas means the factory is later than it could be, and so it does give a bit more potential for these Reapers to get damage done. Now TY is scouting around, looking as though he's just maybe keeping this SCV on the map, or maybe just waiting to see what's going to come up next. First Marines are out with a couple of SCVs pulled, a second bunker's going to go up as well. Well, first Reaper's just sat here, second Reaper now is what he was waiting for to move forwards. There's two Marines, may just want to go back in towards the bunker, maybe a bit too late for that now, actually might be okay. First Reaper actually takes quite a bit of damage. Nice jumping around locations here. It's actually not a bad map for Reapers in terms of where they can jump around once they're in the base. Maybe getting into the base is one of the harder things. Two depots to the side here, already blocked off one entrance though, so that's kind of nice. You see one Reaper going down though, SCVs catch the other Reaper. That's a big play by TY. Shuts down a lot of the further kind of potential here from GuMiho because now he doesn't have that sort of momentum, snowballing effect of, Reapers gathering up in numbers, never dying. They actually killed a third Reaper as well during all of that, so that was 3 Reapers going down. A moment of disaster for GuMiho. TY with such a solid hold here initially. Of course, back at home, GuMiho, he has that factory on the way up. He will now begin to expand himself, and he will end up expanding faster than TY here. But TY with the tech to maybe punish that, we'll see what he tries to get done. Let's see if TY comes into the main, and Reaper will jump onto that pretty quickly, going to push the SCV down in towards the natural. And it's going to take quite a bit of damage, so SCV gets taken down here. This barracks lifts up, starts to come down towards the bottom left-hand side. As we do see again, that Hellion just patrolling it is going to be from TY, the Cloak Banshee, to try and get some damage done. And we do see the command center now coming up on the natural, so both players are now expanding, but again, GuMiho still comes out of this with a natural expansion. So again, there's the factory lifts off of the tech lab. We are going to see that dropping down. Starport will move to his own tech lab. If he goes for a Raven here, this could be pretty good for GuMiho in terms of deflecting the Banshee. If he deflects the Banshee without taking much damage, I actually don't really mind GuMiho's position because, if that Banshee goes down without doing much, it kind of offsets the advantage which TY had on the tech, because, by choosing to go into the Banshee, if that doesn't do a lot, well then where is your advantage now, TY, right? He doesn't have a worker lead, his CC was a little bit behind. So yeah, I don't mind GuMiho's position if this Banshee goes down nicely. And with a Raven and a Cyclone, the possibility is definitely there. And of course, not just the Raven doesn't just bring detection, the Raven will straight up bring you the Interference Matrix, which can just stop a Banshee from dealing damage at all. As we do see the Marines chasing away this other barracks here. We're going to have to build another of those. In fact, no, he actually did save one. That was the same barracks as before. I thought one already died. As we do see those few units from TY gathering up. He is going to go into a faster third command center though, and so that is something which you can definitely look toward as his way of taking an advantage, in terms of taking a bit of a worker lead. Orbital Command Center from TY is going to be dropping down and, well, morphing in on the natural. So it's a super fast bird in comparison to the natural. GuMiho with a few Reapers from earlier is going to come across and just have a little bit of a look to see if you can find a way to do a little bit of damage here. You know, jump into the main, pick off a couple of SCVs would be amazing. There's not much these Reapers are going to do back at home, right? They're not going to gain much at home. At the same time, they're not going to gain much here, but they have potential of doing something here, whereas back at home, they're really not going to achieve anything. Banshee into the Raven. He actually cancelled Cloak, so TY saw something along the way that just sort of made him feel as though Cloak wasn't really worth the commitment. Barracks to move to the Tech Lab, starport to the reactor. Obviously allows for reactive Vikings, which can create that air control. Well, alternatively, GuMiho could also go in towards Stim. With Tech Lab on the barracks, you know, it kind of feels like he wants Stim in to play Bio. Banshee from both players kind of present here at the moment. So you're going to be seeing GuMiho. Again, a couple of workers in the lead. Anti-armor missiles going to make this very one-sided fight with the Cyclones in play, especially. They love the lack of armor upgrades on an opponent's army. 2 Cyclones go down, but he kills the Raven, still gets the siege tank in the end anyways. Well, that was a fantastic little trade-off there in favor of GuMiho. Cleaning out absolutely everything of TY. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. And of course, GuMiho has his own Raven around, so that's still going to come into play a bit later on as well. Going into some Cyclones here, and GuMiho is now going to show us some mech. So, showing us some mech play for some extra factories. Really wasn't feeling the barracks on the Tech Lab. TY set up much more like you would expect to see a Bio player set up. Triple racks already in play. He has the Banshee Arise, doesn't have much at home. Banshee's actually picked up 8 kills now throughout the game. Not lost on either side. We're not going to be seeing these SCVs continue to drop, and again it keeps GuMiho in a worker lead. The higher a worker lead he has, obviously the better a position it is for him to transition out of this, and now it's a 6 worker lead. And that's looking pretty great, as he does have his own third CC ready to go as well, as the third gas of TY, third CC of TY is muling away though. So again, that was here a little bit faster. He will benefit from that being a little bit earlier. As double armory comes in from GuMiho, he gets ready for his mech upgrades here in game number 1. Bio will start moving down to the bottom left. A couple of Vikings are good because there was Liberators from GuMiho. Liberators which I can't currently find on the map anywhere. There they are, towards the top side of the third base. But it means that the Vikings should be able to win a fight against the Liberators, and the Liberators can't just siege up to kind of shut down TY's hopes and dreams, although I guess with only 2 Vikings, I guess you could siege and kill a tank or 2, maybe even 2 tanks before the Vikings get the kills. Kind of depends on the positioning, etc. Control. Tank gets rid of the first Marine, leading the charge in, so GuMiho can't really well, be in too much trouble just yet, right, with that tank. But, well, there's a Stim, and these 2 tanks which siege actually do reach across to this orbital. So this orbital is in a little bit of trouble. It will take damage, and it also means it covers some of this mineral line too. So SCV's in some trouble as well. Vikings actually land on the siege tank, allows the Marines to come forwards here. Big moment actually out of TY. Able to get himself into the natural expansion properly, or the third base properly. And that does mean SCVs have to come off the mineral line and just stop mining, although can they actually get a kill on the command center? I highly doubt it. The Marines trying to fight against the Liberator right now will just not get the kill before one tank goes down. The other tank will have to move forwards because there's only one of them that was actually in range of this orbital. Marines still fighting here. Going to see some more SCVs taking some shots as well. Cyclone's still holding on though, and GuMiho is still holding this position despite it being in very low numbers. Now he lands the Vikings, and he will be able to pick up a siege tank kill, if not a second as well. Lifts one of those damaged Vikings back up into the sky. Obviously, tanks cannot shoot upwards, nor can Marauders, as a wise zombie group once told us. And yeah, backing away in towards the center of the map. We have got these barracks from GuMiho just sat down to the south side. Another siege tank showing up as well. And again, 1-1 vehicle upgrades coming on in a 4th and 5th one. Yeah, 4th and 5th factory coming through from GuMiho. He's looking good right now. You know, he still has a good economy. He still has his production set up correctly. His upgrades are looking fab. And what does TY have? Is he out expanding the mech player? No. Is he playing a massive macro map against a mech player? Yes. That's not good. And in general here, TY is looking absolutely doomed, I would say. I guess not doomed, but it really doesn't look positive for him. You know, I really feel like when a mech player is on equal economy, equal supply, has, you know, a map which you can play 3 bases on super easily, it looks as though he's going to be completely fine here. He's going to see those medevacs going to boost in towards the main base, and, well, he's going to find himself an opening here, maybe to get something done. Kills 1 tank already, but more tanks starting to clean up. And he might get a couple tanks from the low ground as well, but even then it's still costing him some siege tanks over on this position here. So, at the end of the day, was this really still, you know, something that was worth it for TY? Resetting the tank count, I think, is always nice, but again, he lost a lot of the army, which at this stage of the game really is a big chunk of his army, even though it wasn't that many units. This is the sort of position we're in at the moment. While some units going to be coming forwards here and just going to be gathering up outside of the free bases. Yeah, I've got some bio going to come over to the left-hand side too, joined up by a siege tank. I feel like TY has to stop making these smaller attacks though. I like the idea of him keeping the kind of the meching player back, but it just feels as though it never really, I don't know, it just never feels as though it's really going to transition into much more than, you know, it's not going to transition into, you know, good trades. And normally you can get away with bad trades as the bio player, but in this case he was only just now building the 4th base, so he doesn't have an economic lead, so you can't really justify like trading out small units at a time a little bit inefficiently to reset the tank count. It's just not going to work with the position he's currently in. Lord Marine will begin to lead the charge, but decides not to commit for now. A couple of medivacs will try to drop into the natural, which in fairness doesn't have much defense at the moment. The missile turrets are just not quite ready, so this is actually perfect time for TY to drop in. Still siege tank here though, and still some free warning coming through. The Vikings now coming forwards. I mean, those medivacs are going to be able to get out of there, so at least that's something. But the barriers that dropped down, obviously they didn't stand much hope at the same time. And GuMiho is just clawing himself forwards in that supply lead. It's just getting a little bit large every time I look at it. You know, it was, you know, 5 supply, then 10, now it's 20 almost. It just feels like GuMiho, again, slightly better trades, a couple better pickoffs here and there, and those little things are just adding up in his favor as this game goes by. Just a little bit of bio coming around to the top again. TY now is just sort of sit back a little bit on his 5 bases. Sorry, I think before I said... No, this... I was right. I thought I said that this was his 4th base build, and I was like, wait, he's got this base. It's actually his main base just moved over, so... I wasn't actually incorrect as I maybe thought I was. Liberate comes to the right. That does mean that GuMiho will be able to obviously start harassing some of the economy of TY as well, which, again, isn't exactly outstanding at the moment. I mean, it's perfectly fine. 71 workers is where you want to be. But it's not like TY is the one that's in an economic lead, so TY, again, needing an economic lead generally to play against a mech player. That's not happening right now, and so this Liberator gets pushed away eventually. But again, it's GuMiho that keeps on mining just a bit more healthily, as now he's pushing through the center. This could get interesting because there is still, to the left-hand side, it's going to be the Battle Unions coming forwards. Tanks still just sieged up, and you know, a couple of 2 upgrades coming through. I mean, this is the issue. If TY is not going to commit in because of these couple of tanks, well, this army of GuMiho is going to keep on marching forwards. It's going to keep on pushing through. We're going to see another Marine also getting picked away, and another SCV also going to get picked off. I mean, now this is very dangerous because GuMiho is going to put himself in between the bases of TY. TY is going to be forced into a fight. Direct fight against mech is never really what you want to try and get. These drops on top of the tanks could be big though. Here we go, going to start flying in. The Vikings will start to get some kills very soon though. 1 full medevac goes down, a second basically full medevac goes as well. The Hellbats dropped on top of those dropping bio units too, so there was actually protection for the siege tanks. GG. TY taps out. GuMiho dominates game number 1, I would say, honestly. Just looking good from the get. He brings us. Sorry, that's me pressing the B button. Good thing I didn't do that mid-game. Again, we are casting replays today, guys. That's not something we're trying to hide. These games were played last week, and we're just casting them now because I was traveling during the event, so here we are. To the top left-hand side, our red Terran player. Let's hear it if you're cheering on from Splice. TY. Going up against the blue Terran player to the bottom right side of the map from Psystorm Gaming, we have ourselves GuMiho. So, GuMiho setting up in the bottom right hand side of the map here and getting ready to go, as you see a gas burst from both players. Neither of them going to be throwing down barracks outside of their bases though. They're both going to be keeping themselves in their main for the moment. And that means it's going to be at least a little bit of a difference from what we saw out of GuMiho in the first game with the 2 Rax Reapers. So, seeing how this develops now, we already seen a second gas from both players here. So both TY and GuMiho are setting themselves up into this position, which should allow them to really be, you know, to really just get established here, I guess. You know, you get up into the second gas, you get yourself into the factory quickly, it's a fighting sort of setup, right? It's a fighting stance. You know, they're both going to be looking to be a little bit more aggressive than usual. And it kind of gets weird, because when they both do it, obviously one will generally become the defender. But they both have that option to be the aggressor, because they both opened with the faster factory, as we'll be seeing here. Now, we've been seeing a lot of different ways this works out lately. There's been a lot of just straight up cyclone play from this. A lot of players like to skip the starport, get into that natural expansion nice and quickly. Some players like to skip the cyclones and play the starport instead right away, and play with kind of like a Hellion based opener. So we'll see how this is going to go. Well, STV or TY is going to pop out, and as being scanned around in the main base. Obviously, if anyone was going to STV scout in game 2, it was going to be TY. I mean, you know, he got proxy racks in game number 1. Just nice to check that that's not going to happen again, because it does give you that little bit of a heads up. It does give you the few moments to start figuring out, you know, maybe I should do this, maybe you should do that. As we are going to be seeing the STV here from TY, is heading up towards the upper left-hand side to jump in towards that main. And he kind of just, you know, snuggled away there and to see what else he can spot. So, GuMiho is just going to be continuing along here. Does start the starport. He had a Hellion initially too, and now can start up a Cyclone. Actually starts a second Hellion. Interesting. He has the gas for a Cyclone. Starts the reactor. Still has the gas. Even would have the gas for a Cyclone then to be able to build something with the starport too. It's actually a tech lab on the barracks, so it's actually going to be, I guess, a Raven out of GuMiho very early on. That, or he just goes straight for very fast cloak Banshee. Now, from TY, he is going in towards this expansion. He is throwing down the reactor on this barracks while continuing cyclone production of his own. This is actually very similar to, in fact, so far it is exactly the same as a build order guide that I wrote on Icy Veins. If you guys want to check that out, exclamation mark guides in the chat. It's a build that Innovation kind of developed and really put a lot of use into over the last few days, last couple of weeks. So it definitely seems to have a lot of potency. What generally happens here is the factory jumps onto the reactor, you continue with cyclone production, but you're actually heading towards a bio play, where the barracks builds up a tech lab, you get set for stim pack, and in general you just play this kind of bio setup against the, you know, against whatever your opponent goes for. So we'll see if that is going to be the commitment. You generally cut at about 6 cyclones or so, depending on how safe you feel, while adding on extra racks. Again, we'll see how that goes. One of the big issues, though, is the Cloak Banshee from GuMiho can be so effective and so deadly if you're not ready for it. And so right here, TY, he needs to think about something very soon if he wants to really kind of show us what's going to be happening in this TvT without it just being kind of a landslide victory, because he needs a scan, or he needs a missile turret, he needs detection. Without that, this Banshee is going to have so much done so quickly. Reaper TY trying to figure out what's going on. Sees 2 Reapers and 2 Hellions. It's actually a very indicative sign of, hey, you have got no Cyclones, because if you've been building Hellions earlier, you know, it doesn't take up gas, and if you don't have Cyclones, well, where does that gas go? It can actually be a bit of a good telltale sign that is, in fact, a Banshee. Banshee shows itself, there is scans available. The Cyclones have approached the other side of the map here. TY, actually, this Banshee is actually going to be his issue. He's going to try for the siege tank, but I don't think he gets it. With the Banshee here, the Banshee's actually just so good. TY is just going to leave the game, because actually, as this Banshee continues through his mineral line, all of his Cyclones is rallied across the map. So he didn't actually have anything at home to defend either. So this Banshee was just picking away at damage and damage and damage. And that was